the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away?
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed, and welcome to another round of the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship here on Chaz Draycott Media. I, of course, am your host, Chaz Draycott, but I'm delighted to have once again beside me my good friend Ed May. Ed, as people will very quickly realise right now, we're at possibly the most challenging track on the calendar. Belle Isle, what a place to be for a Formula 3 car, eh?
Yeah, a race circuit that has held many an exciting and dramatic race here in IndyCar throughout the years. This venue has been home to plenty and exciting motor racing. Will be home to the NEVO Sim Stickers F3 for tonight. 2 races to come. And a circuit, like you say, has been steeped in history. Actually, inside the Belle Isle circuit is the aquarium, the oldest aquarium in the country, opened in 1904. But with a circuit as tricky and demanding as Belle Isle, drivers will be hoping at the end of tonight their chances in the championship won't be sleeping with the fishes.
Definitely not, mate. Definitely not. It's going to be a very, very tough challenge for them, though. And the bumps and lumps of this circuit will certainly not sort of help Formula 3 cars. As we saw last week as well at Sebring, it was very, very bumpy and rough there. It's not too hot out there at the moment, but as you see, it's not even 4 kilometers of circuit. It looks like a very simple shape when you see it on that track map, but it's really not. It's a lot longer than it looks there. But I think this is going to be a really, really intriguing night. We did mention the championship standings, just having a quick look at them. Bart Daleman, Niles van der Kokel and Kevin Zemstra all tied for first, second and third on 27 points. Then Carlos Garcia was only 1 point back, and his teammate Carles Alvarez Benedi is only 1 point back from him. It's incredible how close it is. Mattis Martinsen a few points further back, then Iker Estefania in 7th, followed by Ivan Lara Maynard and Brian Loynes and Silas Krag Vrolik. Hans Polmans leads the way in the consistency class at the moment, 3 points clear of Tim Rutten, with Martin Deckens in 3rd place, 8 points back. Greg Parmenter 4th ahead of Paul Godden. Adam Osiawala and Wayne Palmer are tied for 6th and 7th, with Carl New in 8th, Jakub Szymanski in 9th, and Philip Russell in 10th. In the Teams Championship, it's Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing that lead it on 40 points. World of Sim Racing Team are second on 28, and then the World of Sim Racing Club are on 27. Great to see that these new teams are making a very, very strong start to their campaigns. We've got the Mamba Sim Sport team in 5th behind Flemish, who are on 20 points. SimStickers Racing Red and SimStickers Racing, or, well, no, Racing and Red, sorry boys, are tied for 6th and 7th on 14 points each. Team Year 1 are then ahead of the 2 XZ Racing Orange teams. And what we're going to do is have a quick look at what is going on out there at the moment. On track, we have Tim Rutten on our screens currently, and you can hear already the cars bottoming out and dragging along the road. They're going to have to get used to quite a lot of that tonight, Ed, but I mean, look already at how narrow this place is. And when there is a curb, it's a mighty big one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so tight, no room for error. Dip a wheel onto those curbs on the inside, you will find yourself getting spat off into the walls. Tim Rutten gets very close to that tyre barrier on the exit of turn 13. Here we come then. Right around the corners. It's so difficult here at Belle Isle because you need to basically drive at the walls, not into them, as we go on board with Tim Rutten. Listen to the scraping of the underside of that car. Creaking in. Oh, every time we go on that shot, I think that the drivers are going to hit the wall. They somehow managed to keep it out. But it just shows exactly what I was saying. You drive at them, not into them, but it is a fine line that you have to walk. There's Tim Rutten again. Oof, fighting the car all the way through.
And there's been a main change for this evening, by the way, and rounds to follow this in the qualifying format. Basically, there won't be qualifying. The first race will be determined by the top 10 in the championship being reversed, and then the rest of the drivers behind that in each class will then just be in championship order. And the 2 classes will be split up. Basically, after some analysis last time, Bart, who we see here in the number 1 car, realised that basically the guys in the consistency class that were qualifying in the top 12 or sort of 11th or 12th would then get put to the very front of the grid and have a massive points advantage over the other drivers in their class who just wouldn't be able to catch them amongst all of the precision drivers. So it makes sense, you know, these series and these things take time to work out like that, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Although there is still qualifying, but that is for the second race, Chaz.
Yes, sorry.
They have 20 minutes
My bad.
of qualifying to sort out the order for the second race. The longer affair, approximately, I think, 40 minutes or so in length it came to in the end, but with a maximum cap of an hour. Obviously, laps dependent on the circuit we come to, but with the warm-up over and done with, here we go. Chaz, do us the honour of rounding out the grid for the first race here at Belle Isle.
Silas Krag Vrolik will start on pole position alongside Brian Loynes. Ivan Maynard will be alongside his stablemate Iker Estefania on row 2. Behind them we have Mattis Martinsen and Carles Alvarez. Carlos Garcia and Kevin Zemstra make up row 4 ahead of Niles van der Kokelt and Bart Daleman. Behind them is Ben Hoffman and newcomer to the series Jerome Lamy in 12th. Then we have Philip Russell in 13th ahead of Khan Newen. Wayne Palmer is 15th with Adam Osiawala behind him. Paul Godden and Martin Deckens are on row 9 ahead of Tim Rutten and Hans Polmans. Then it's Stephen Grabowski in 21st. So a bit of a nerve-wracking time right now, Ed, as they wait to get this one underway. I really don't know who to pick, to be honest with you. There's so many drivers out there that could win this one. What do you reckon?
I don't know, maybe after the end of this next lap we might have the safety car leading here as we get this action underway. CLS Krag Vrolik with a good start, leaving Brian Loynes on the inside line with nothing to do, but look at that, the pair of them scrapping it out. That was Estefania and Maynard, the World of Sim Racing team, scrapping away here as we make our way down towards turn 3, battling in the lead, battling in behind. Touch wood, they're getting through this nice and safely, but cold tyres makes it all the more difficult. Side by side still for the lead of the race as Brian Loynes puts on a brilliant move against Craig Frolic, who's not going to let this up without a fight, but has to eventually concede first place. Brilliant stuff there by Brian. As Tim Rutten, you're watching him practice, and unfortunately that has not paid off. Big damage. The entire front end of that car completely vanished.
The two Flemish cars came together. Martin Deckens and championship leader Hans Polman's involved in that one. Look at this. Absolutely nose to tail. The 4 WOSR cars are right together in this as well in the middle. You've got Estefania, Maynard, Alvarez and Garcia. And look at all the checking up that they're having to do as well, Ed. This is something that we're going to see a lot of tonight. They really have to stamp on the brakes and suddenly stop. And again, look, they're making contact with one another. There's a car in the wall. Car in the wall is Maynard. And he's parked it, and he's not in a very good place, but he gets away. That camera's not too great through there. But he's lost the left rear wheel, and it just seemed like unnecessary fighting between teammates, didn't it? Look at that.
There wasn't any contact, but you can see that he was forced offline into the tyre barrier that, gave no resistance, completely sheared that left rear wheel right off. Credit to iRacing's damage model. That would effectively be the extent of the damage. Is Brian Loynes. He's really racing with Craig Frolic here.
Craig Frolic hit the wall. Silas just kissed the wall on the left-hand side there for a moment. I'm not sure if it's affected the car too much, but there was definitely a tap on that left-hand side.
I've been seeing drivers scraping the walls just a touch. They can tap it, they can't hit it. That's the difference that you need to be trying to keep within. Craig Frolic defends the inside line, keeping Brian Loynes at bay. Following through the field, Bart Daleman tied for the championship into this second round, being very patient, only up one place since the start. Mattis Martinson has had a beginning to the race to forget, unfortunately down 3 places, and on a circuit like Belle Isle, street circuits, they're always difficult to try and make up places. It's going to be a big job for him to try and come back.
Jerome Lamy has had 2 issues here on this lap. He's following his teammate there as, he just looped it on the power and he holds the brakes. Luckily, nobody makes contact with him and he reverses the car, gives it a bit of a flick spin and gets going again. Adam Osiowala has also just had a problem, I'm afraid, in the exit car, loses it. That camera there is awful, but he manages to collect it and not go in the wall. Race lead change though. Brian Loynes has got ahead of Silas Craig Frolic. Martin Deckens has just had an off again. I think he's actually come out of the pits and then stopped. But right now, it is very, very close near the top. And there's a long train here. Lovely to see. All of the Alcantech cars there in a bit of a trio. They're going to hope to be further up the order to chase down Silas and try and help out their teammate, but they've got 3 WOSR cars between them, and Iker Estefania is the highest placed of them, trying to go down the inside of Silas. It's such a risky move there, but it was Carlos Garcia that made the contact earlier with Ivan Maynard. Well, he made actually the contact with the back of Carles Alvarez, but pushed Maynard out wide into the barrier. So he's going to be a bit gutted. Is that Silas? Silas is off and around. He finished second in my CDM Formula 1 World Championship race at Imola last night. 3 second places on the trot. But unfortunately, this race is not going to be a second place for him. And right now, Brian Loynes is loving life, mate. He's got a 4.2 second lead. Apparently, it's actually more like 1.6. But still, he's going to be happy with it. Niels van der Kokel is the highest placed Alcantech car, trying to get past Carlos Garcia.
Trying. Is he succeeding though? We're going to follow on board down into turn 3. Hard on the brakes. Can he send it around the outside? No, instead goes for a switchback maneuver, but great defensive driving there by Garcia. Sent it in. Got it stopped just in time for the exit. Through turn 4. Went unchallenged, but for now, Van der Kokel needs to bide his time. Plenty of time still to come as you hear the underside scraping there as the track undulates up and down. These Formula 3 cars so stiff, aren't they, Chaz? You can hear the underside of the car really struggling. I'm imagining that it's probably not the best experience for the drivers. wheels like shake weights.
No, definitely not. Somebody that's having a bit of a change of fortune today is Philip Russell so far. The go for the gap racing machine. Oh no, that's not a good sign. That was not a good sign. Philip Russell's car just disappearing momentarily there. He's currently leading the consistency class after having a multitude of accidents last week. Carl Newen's in second place. Then it's Paul Godden in third. But these guys are all a lot more spread out. Wayne Palmer has just had a spin and an off. And I think Stephen Grabowski's had some sort of problem as well. Silas Craig Vrolic also having another... Oh, no. No, apologies. That was just Silas losing his places. Stevens just had a big old off. He's hit the wall. I'm not sure what the damage was like. But then Wayne Palmer, not long after this, had a crash all of his own. Let's have a look at how this happened. We'll go on board with him. Is he just going to hit this curb or just loop it on the power? Oh, good save. Good save indeed. But, I mean, it just shows you how easy it is to lose this car, doesn't it, on a bumpy surface?
Yeah, it does. This Lehman, he sets the fastest lap of the race so far. So, newcomer to the championship. Doesn't seem to be lame in terms of pace, does Jerome? Number 16 car, new entrant, bodes very well for the remainder of the season, especially with the...
Oh, dearie me.
Well, that was heart and mouth stuff from Kevin Zemstra as Van der Kokel has a massive moment right in front of him, nearly collecting his Tech teammates. Oh.
You know what, as well, Mattis Martinson just behind that. Fantastic awareness from him because he still saw that, saw his teammates slowing down, and he slowed down as well.
Wow.
That was great awareness by the two of them, and they let it's like, after you, chap. But all that started by Niels van der Kokel, look, just clipping the barrier there. Broke the left rear suspension, and that's it. That's just savage. That's street racing for you, isn't it? That is savage.
Yeah, the brutality of it, but it's part of the reason why I think you and I, Chaz, really love it. Going to a track like Belle Isle, a circuit that's underutilised, I think it's fair to say, on the iRacing service. Brilliant circuit, demands a lot from the drivers, and we're seeing some of the very best coming through the field right now. And Brian Loynes, he's just nursing the gap to Estefania, 2 seconds just outside the range where he gets slipstream as Lamy, yet again, another fastest lap coming through as we watch Philip Russell. I mean, what a drive he's having from 0 in Sebring to hero at Belle Isle.
Yeah, he's 12 seconds clear of Paul Godden as well, in arguably the best looking car in the consistency class. And he'll be very happy with his performance so far. Godden's got Zemstra for company, but obviously that is not for position. But Zemstra must have lost a bunch of places because he passed his teammate after that moment. He's been into the pits actually, so I'm not sure what that was for, but Zemstra has pitted. He's now back in front of Godden, and Hans Polmans, who, don't forget, was involved in an incident at the very start here, is right in this now, and he's still in third place in his class, so he'll be pretty chuffed with this as wide goes Godden, and Hans Polmans goes through. Thank you very much, he says. The Belgian moves up to second and now sets off chasing Philip Russell. We're nearly at the halfway point, though.
Yeah, my word, halfway point already. This race is motoring on by. Just Hans Polmans. Oh, as Adam Osiavala, big damage. He's going to have to nurse this back to the pits. Thankfully, no drivers close behind. Let's have a look how he did this. Oh, just over rotates on the exit. And Sarah crunch into the wall.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's that easy. It's that easy, isn't it?
It's so difficult when you're applying the power out of some of these slower speed corners because the bumps unsettle it, lessens the grip, the traction, the adhesion of those rear tyres. As soon as it breaks, it's so difficult to regain, especially in these open wheel Formula cars. Trust me, after Imola, I'm very aware of how easily the rear can break traction on you in these sorts of machines. But it's so unforgiving here at Belle Isle. At other circuits, you have runoff, you'll be able to lock the brakes and you'll be clear, you'll lose a bit of time, but nowhere near a race-ending incident like we've seen so many fall foul of.
It's just great watching these cars make their way around this track, isn't it? Absolutely flying on a mission at the moment. But Brian Loynes, I mean, we can't say anything bad about his performance so far. He really put up the fight with Silas. He's kept the car on the black stuff. I mean, not that there's much green stuff around here. There's a little bit on the left there, but this has been a mega performance so far by Brian Loynes. And it just looks like the car's actually on rails, to be fair to him.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. Look, at getting every apex nailed down, extending his advantage to Estefania lap by lap. The two of them, first and second, seem to be nailed on till the end of the race, unless Alvarez and Garcia and Martinson have anything to say about it to try and reel in those front runners. Following Daleman as well, he hasn't been able to have the progress through the field, and I think, at least from my point of view, I was expecting him to be a little bit quicker. I mean, the times he was putting in practice were very rapid, half a second faster than anybody else, but in the race, he seems to be racing with a bit more of a level head, I think, and banking on the feature race, the final race of the evening, to get him those points come the end of tonight.
Again, there's that painful noise of it crackling along the floor. Now Carlos Garcia has come into the pits, and annoyingly, we can't see why. Doesn't look like there's any damage on the car. This camera's a toss here. It doesn't look damaged or anything, does it? Although I imagine, this will be for fuel, will it not? They might not make it on fuel as whoa! Oh, Grabowski's put it in the wall. That's damaged the rear wing. Well, that seems to be the end of that. Jerome Lamy, he's still pushing on here. I think he's got... It's the Flemish car behind him of Hans Polman's, actually. I thought his teammate was somewhere near him, but Ben Hoffman's up in 6th place. Not seen much of Ben in this race, really, but he's just there behind Bart, who's made his way up into 5th position. Started 10th on the grid. And again, just... Bart hasn't stood out much in this one, but, I mean, let's remember his performance at Sebring in that last race. It was unbelievable, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's as well a lot trickier for Bart because he hasn't really been doing much practice following other cars. As for me, blinks in and out of existence, a couple of wheels go flying. That was worrying. Hopefully for Bart Daleman, at least for my sake as well, that internet holds firm from tonight. But again, you're not really able to get too much practice following other cars. The dirty air, any amount of understeer, if it sends you into the wall, is race ending. Make no mistake about it. As Alvarez is slowly but surely reeling in Estefania by the tune of, well, last lap, out 7/10 of a second. Really putting on the pace now is Alvarez to try and take P2 with plenty of time to go in the race. Watch this space.
Yes, indeed. Still 5 laps to go after this one. I must say, I really do like the liveries on these WOSR cars. They look very tidy indeed. Mattis Martinson's having a bit of a quiet one now that he's all on his own in the Alcantech machine. We have got a bunch of drivers that have all pitted, though, so I do think that they have to pit for fuel during this. We'll have to wait and see whether everybody comes in. Silas isn't in yet, but Carlos Garcia, just in front of him, has pitted. We'll show you the pit stops on the left-hand side so you can see. There are a bunch of drivers in the middle. Paul Gordon, who's just done his best lap of the race. He's one of the prime examples of those that haven't pitted yet. He's in the SimStickers racing car. Surprised that's not the SimStickers red car, actually, but still. I think it might be, actually, but it's not showing up as such here. He's got Wayne Palmer right behind him, another driver that has not pitted yet. And Philip Russell, though, he is miles out in front, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the lap times, it doesn't seem that anyone, especially in that consistency class, can really hold a candle to him. Hans Polman's all the way down P12 on the road, ahead of Rutten and Godden. So for the moment, as long as Philip Russell is able to carry on, he's going to get some much needed points, especially after the first round. Doesn't need to be worth repeating. It was not the best of times for Philip Russell, but at least we're seeing now what he's capable of in terms of out-and-out pace, and also able to get that consistency back on. Touch wood, if he finishes, that'd be a great result for him.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I mean, around circuits like this, a lot of the race is just about survival, to be honest with you. You just have to survive every single lap and just try and carry at least a bit of pace with it. But you will see a number of drivers here that won't be on the ultimate pace of the race, but they'll still have a strong finish because they'll just get the car to the end. It's quite an interesting dynamic around tracks like this, but it's what separates them from a lot of other tracks and races that we see, isn't it? Because usually when you get the purpose-built circuits, there's a bit more runoff, there's a bit of grass, you know, the drivers can push the limits, but places like this, you have to be so accurate and so finely tuned for this sort of racing. And you absolutely nailed it before, Ed. You know, you said you need to drive at the walls, not around them or by them. You have to aim in early and really chuck the car in. And, well, a number of these drivers have done it well enough tonight, but there's a lot of them have clipped the barriers here and there. But Philip Russell just ahead of these guys, doing an absolutely outstanding job as things go. Silas Craig Frolic is into the pits now. You just see him slowing down on the left-hand side of your shot. So it does seem like they do have to pit before the end in most cases. That's such a scary corner, isn't it? Turn 2.
It is.
Because you go over a crest, don't you? And it's quite high speed as well. The wall just comes at you.
Yeah, and by going over that crest, it drags you even closer to the wall. The car has a tendency to understeer as it gets a little bit lighter at the very peak of it, starting to try and fight the car, fight a little bit of oversteer even at times. It's such a horrible corner, but if you can get it right and you're confident in yourself, it's also so enjoyable, so fun. I mean, we see from the fast drivers, Loinsy, I mean, at the front of the race, like we were mentioning, driving at the wall, but not into it. Every time you come up to that area of the circuit, I'm certain that height rate will go just a little bit higher, maybe by a few beats per minute, but definitely noticeable for all of the drivers here, because if there are any corners that are terrifying, well, Brian Loinsy is coming up to it now.
Yeah, indeed. There's a load of grip on the way through, but then suddenly there's this mad crest. It's pretty bonkers how quickly that does come at you, to be honest with you. Adam Osceola has had another problem around the lap. He's stopped the car. He's still going again, actually, but at some point he has just come to a stop, whether that be a spin or something else.
Well, Daleman, he was saying that he wasn't making as much progress up through the field than at least I was expecting, but, well, it was only a matter of time, I think, before he was able to claw his way back up, now into P4. Still hasn't pitted, expecting drivers to make one pit stop before the end of proceedings here in this first race of the evening, but for the moment, Brian Loinsy doesn't look like a pit stop would stop him from taking the race victory. Estefania, good way back. We expect him to pit as well. Just look at this, though. That Sim Stickers racing car looking very nice here. Yellow wheels matching the yellow trim on the sort of the roll bar, the crash structure as he comes into the pits now. Brian Loinsy, race leader, into the pits on lap 13. Estefania follows suit, as does we expect Martinson and Daleman, and also Ben Hoffman. So then it's going to be, where's Carles Alvarez finding himself slotting back into the action as Daleman actually carries on into the lead of the race now.
I'm looking at Philip Russell for a reason. He's not pitted here, and Hans Polmans is right behind him. Hansy is going to take lead in the class here. Somehow Philip Russell has not done this. This is when Carlos Garcia got past him. He was still leading the class at this point. So he's going slowly. I think he's missed his box. I think he wanted to pit then, and he's going to run out of fuel. Or he was going to. And he's had to pit last second now. Somehow, though, Bart Daleman... Oh, Bart's not pitted either, you know.
Oh.
He's managed to save the fuel here. Now, I don't
Maybe
think...
that was the reason why he was slower, Chaz.
Ah, did you hear that? Listen. There's a lot of lifting, but also he was dumping the clutch then on the way into the sector.
Yeah. Listen, all the way through here, I mean, it'll have to be a wondrous amount of fuel saving for it to have worked. He's needing basically to save 2 laps relative to the rest of the field. Got 8 seconds worth of time to sacrifice in his efforts to make it to the end, and he's going to go to the end. He's going to see the white flag, now or never for Bart Daleman. Loinsy catching by the moment, by the corner, by the meter here. It could be in for a thrilling finish, or has Bart Daleman sealed it on the strategy?
Well, let's keep our eye on this. We'll stay on board with Brian Loinsy. He's led pretty much the whole race so far until he is pitted. Wayne Palmer and Paul Godden haven't pitted yet either, to be fair to them. Those two saving fuel, but much further down the order. Look how close Brian Loinsy is to that wall on the left-hand side. It's incredible. He's now 6.4 behind Bart, literally through that corner. Now it's 6.1. He's really, really reeling him in. 6 seconds now, the gap. 5.9 as he went through the left-hander. It's gone back up to 6, but now he can get on the power. 5.9 seconds between the two. I think Bart might have this done, you know. He's over half a lap around this circuit, although now it's come down. 5 seconds all of a sudden. He lost a second down that straight. You can't see him yet either, so this is really tough for Brian Loynes to try and pull this one off. I think Bart might have this in the bag, you know. I think he might have just made it work. There he is, just ahead. Only a couple more corners to go for Bart Daleman. Around the last corner, he's going to see the final run to the flag. And Bart Daleman takes the first race of the night. Phenomenal driving, great fuel saving by Bart. Great stuff. Brian Loynes is going to finish in second position. Carlos Alvarez is going to be third, just ahead of his teammate, Iker Estefania. And then Carlos Garcia was behind them. Mattis Martinsen is next up. And somehow, after an incident at the very start, Hansy boy, Hans Polmans is going to take the win in the consistency class. What a brilliant drive by Hans. GG, sunshine. You're going to be happy with that one.
Brilliant, yeah. I think he had to do a little bit of fuel management come the end of the race as well. We heard him clutching as he came over the line.
Oh, Silas.
Silly Silas.
Yeah.
Slams it into the wall. Jerome Lamy, wow, what a drive from him on his debut.
Those two were close for second and third in consistency there. Philip
yeah.
Russell managed to hold on to second, though. I mean, you won't be too disappointed with that, considering class position, but yeah, I think after the fact that he led 90% of that race, he would have rather finished a little bit higher up than that, to say the least there, Ed. But still, a very, very entertaining race to get us started. That was certainly a good laugh. And, well, quite attritional, to be honest with you. There was a lot of cars out of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Bart Daleman, wonderful stuff to get the strategy nailed on, but you have to feel for Brian Loynes. I mean, he did everything right, essentially, apart from the strategy, led virtually every lap, right up until the very end, where Bart Daleman, that man, took the race victory.
And so he did, by 4.6 seconds to Brian Loynes in the end. Then we have 3 WOSR cars, Carles Alvarez, Iker Estefania, and Carlos Garcia. Mattis Martinsen was 6th ahead of Kevin Zemstra, his teammate, with Ben Hoffman 8th, Hans Polmans 9th, and Silas Greg-Vrolik in 10th. Jerome Lamy is in 11th, with Philip Russell and Tim Rutten 2nd and 3rd in their class. Carl Newen was 14th, ahead of Wayne Palmer and Paul Godden. Ivan Maynard eventually was classified in 17th, the last car on the lead lap. Adam Osiawala finished in 18th position, with Martin Deckens 2 laps down. Niels van der Kokelt retired 9 laps to go, and Stephen Grabowski retired even earlier than him. Well, the streets of Belle Isle, streets of Detroit, certainly claiming a couple of drivers already tonight. You can see the marbles and the rubble around the track. We're going to have to realign the barriers and get everything back in place for race 2. I think it's going to potentially take a bit of time for them to set up, but of course we will have qualifying before that one, so we're going to see a different grid for this second race of the night, and I for one am very excited for that. Ed, what do you expect we'll see from this second race?
I mean, I'm very excited. I want to see what Jerome Lamy can do now, having to start from the back of the pro class field, now with a chance to get himself up the order for qualifying, put in some very impressive lap times as well. Fastest lap of the race going his way in that first race. Expect to see the debutant doing a good job here in Belle Isle, but then also you can't count out Bart Daleman on a race that requires fuel stops and good management of the strategy. He showed just exactly what he's made of here in this first race. He could be a good shout for the race victory in the second race of the evening.
Indeed, it will be an absolute corker. Make sure you don't go anywhere, everybody, because it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. You're watching the NEVO SimStickers Formula 3 Championship here on Chaz Draycott Media. Give us a couple of minutes and we will be right back with you.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car. Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well. It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.
sure of our love. I never thought of any reason, a doubt about us, and now I'm right back at the start. Halfway through a bottle, baby, and nothing's enough. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy. And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head, it's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy.
I can feel how I'm changing. I don't know if I'll ever go back. All the ways that you make me, build me up on the things I lack. I don't ever wanna lose you now, 'cause I don't think I'll make it clear now. 'Cause it's you and only you. 'Cause it's you and only you.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here on Chaz Draycott Media for the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. Thank you very much for your patience there while we had a quick break. We're back for the second race of the evening here at the incredible Detroit Grand Prix circuit, Belle Isle. And, well, to be honest, Ed, we've had a fantastic night so far. Plenty of drivers having trouble with the walls and the bumps and lumps of this wonderful circuit. But I think we're going to be in for even more of a treat this time around with a longer affair in this second race. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. 34 laps total to come in the race. But before that, we have a 20-minute qualifying session here for the drivers, and they're all rushing to get out. They cannot wait to get this next race underway.
Yes, indeed. We're going to be qualifying for quite a bit now, just to see who can get the laps in, but this is the circuit that will really separate the men from the boys when it comes to lap times. We're going to see a few incidents during this session, a couple of cars in the wall, because people are going to be pushing those limits from the very get-go, but straight away cars are off, and there's a car stopped up at the top there. Didn't quite catch who that was, unfortunately, but I think it was one of the Sim Stickers cars. It was Paul Godden. Just went straight on at turn 3. But this is going to be the moment where everybody pushes the limits. Brian Loynes was quick in the first race. Very, very strong start for him. He was fighting early on with Silas Cragvrolic, who is still in the pit lane. Khan Newen and his teammate Adam Osiwala also in the pits as well. But we have a very, very strong grid once again. Not as many cars here for this one, but to be honest with you, Ed, it's kind of expected around circuits like this because some people just do not see the fun in driving them, do they?
Yeah, well, you can see how much the cars are bumping up and down. It does a number on certain drivers' physical well-being. I mean, the arms get shaken about if you are coming into this with an injury, which I think actually I think I saw someone was having a little bit of an arm injury coming into this.
Mr. Godden.
Mr. Godden it was. So, unfortunately, he's going to have 34 laps and, of course, the 20 minutes of qualifying to punish his arms for before he can have a well-earned rest. But here we go. The first flying laps being started by the drivers. Following at the moment, this man, Paul Godden, as he makes his way towards turn 3.
The first man to actually get partway around a lap is Kevin Zemstra. He's done 2 green sectors at the moment. Silas is saying his iRacing has crashed, unfortunately. But it's these 3 drivers that you see on your screen right now, Kevin Zemstra, Tim Rutten and Hans Polmans, that are the first 3 to get cracking in the session. On board now with Kevin Zemstra. You can see him going up and down. The revs fluctuating so much on that little arc that we have there. It's incredible how much they do pop up and down because of all of the bumps. The engine just not quite getting the traction it wants. Last couple of corners here, so much quicker than you expect them to be as well. And I mean, even from here, look how much it's moving as Zemstra's around. Sideways, sideways, sideways. And that is going to put an end to his first flying lap. Tim Rutten will be the first one to cross the line and set the benchmark. He did a time of 1:23.477. And Hans Polmans goes just behind with a 1:25.6, 1:23.6 for Martinson. Van der Kokelt goes fastest. And then look at that. 1:22.805, 6 tenths clear. Estefania goes second, only a couple of thousandths ahead of Rutten. Then Daleman comes in. He's even half a second off Van der Kokelt as well.
Yeah, I want to see if we can, at some stage, have a full on-board lap with someone just to see how punishing this circuit is for the drivers, how aware you have to be. Well,
now this is more of an outlap.
More of an outlap for Garcia. You can see he's not really pushing the car to its limits, but that was a good opening lap, good first benchmark time being set by Van der Kokelt. I mean, Tim Rutten, that effort looks like a good time for the consistency class to try and take top honours in that division. You're going to see, though, who has the answer. Can Hans Polmans maybe have a reply? Martin Deckens as well for Florida Simsport. Not miles off, so he's a realistic challenger. All across, we're seeing the times get a little bit quicker now as drivers. Ooh, very, very slidey at the rear end from Tim Rutten. Personal bests across the board, though. Looks to be a time improvement for Tim. And it is a
Wow.
significant improvement. Overall pole position is Hans Polman's then. Follows him up the order into second. Van der Kokel. Oh, stonking lap as Deckens.
Oh, Martin Deckens.
Martin Deckens. Wow, what a lap time there. 22.1. That's a stunning time.
That really is. We've got a car in the wall there, which is Paul Godden. Philip Russell's about to come across the line. I've edited the torrentially terrible camera that we had across the start-finish line from earlier. Russell is 11th, 1.6 off. Palmer goes 12th, but drivers that we haven't seen completing laps yet. Brian Loynes has done a couple, but I think this is his first flying lap now. Carlos Alvarez is near the end of a lap as well. The track is actually quite congested in one section if you look there on the map.
Yeah, just having a look. There's a lot of traffic for drivers to try and come to grips with.
Although that didn't show everybody, because not everybody's got a position yet, have they?
That is very true, yeah. Carlos Alvarez and Carlos Garcia, two of those drivers. As Alvarez does set a time now, goes 9th fastest. Where can his teammate Carlos Garcia go? We suspect him to be coming through to complete a lap time in the near future. As Lamy, well, I said keep your eyes open for him. He looked good in the race. Provisional pole position, 6 minutes gone in qualifying. That's a very good time from Lamy, a 10th faster than Deckens.
Yeah, awesome start. Really awesome start by some of these guys. Some of them taking a couple of laps to just get warmed up and get their best times on the board, but you can see at the bottom the ones that are improving and the ones that are starting to go quicker. Carlos Garcia crosses the line, and he goes third fastest to 1:22.1. I must admit, I was talking about this last night in the Formula One broadcast, but I love the fact that we have this sort of delay when the cars cross the line to when the time actually comes up. You see the timer still carry on counting, and it's much like when I used to watch Formula One as a kid. You'd see the car physically cross the line and there'd be a big delay in the information getting processed, and then you'd eventually see what the lap time comes in at. 1:24.2 for Stephen Grabowski, puts him 16th at the moment. Brian Loynes is currently slowest, 4.8 seconds off, but something tells me that wasn't a flying lap from him.
No, I wouldn't imagine so. He seems to be a lot more aggressive here, though. You can see kicking the rear end out slightly there, coming through turn 6. Then the long run down, not really a back straight, more of a back stretch.
Yeah.
In towards turn 7. Underneath the Corvette gantry there, picking his turn-in point. Careful to not raise the curbs too much. Again, look at that. Just millimetre perfect. This could be a very good time here for Brian Loynes. Set his first representative time on the board. A little bit slow coming out of turn 11 there, but again, just cage it this moment in time. Plenty of time to go in qualifying. Grazes the wall. Is that going to be an invalidation? Because 0Xs do play their part in invalidating your lap times. We'll see him as he comes across the line, what it's going to be for Godden, or Loynes rather. Loynes, it didn't invalidate us that time, and he's up into fourth place. Wonderful stuff.
I don't think he actually hit it. I think he just skimmed the tyre along it, but I don't think it counted enough to be
Inch
contact.
perfect.
It really was. We've got Grabowski across the line once again. Alvarez just going to the line as well, but we watch Adam Oshiawala here in the XZ Racing orange car. He's pushing limits too. Starts by as he grazed the wall. One of two cars not to set a time yet, and they're both the XZ Racing orange cars. He goes into 19th of the 1:25.1. But look at that at the top. Jerome Lamy, fantastic stuff from the Year 1 driver at the moment. A tenth of a second faster than Alvarez. Martin Deckens.
For a lap.
Yeah, he is definitely. Whoa, big slide by Deckens. But I'll tell you what, Martin Deckens, third place at the moment. Consistency class driver as well. That is a monster of a lap time for him. Craig Vrolick goes 9th. That's all he can manage at the moment.
Yeah, so let's have a look at Lamy. He was gearing up for a lap. You can see him getting out of the way. I reckon this could be a good effort as Daleman. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
That is a statement and a half.
That's disgusting. That's what that is. That is disgusting.
I mean, Maynard goes up in the second place, but it's overshadowed by the colossal improvement by Bart Daleman. I mean, we're on board with Lamy now. You can hear the undertray scraping its way through as he really sends the car. Look at that. Does he slow down enough after hitting the wall? Did he just get away with it? Jerome Lamy, you can tell that he is pushing this car to its absolute limit. You can hear it from how much it's scraping underneath him. It sends plenty of speed into the corner, but there's an incident up in front, and even though it didn't really affect him, it sent him offline, and that unfortunately has put pay to what could have been a very good position lap attempt by Jerome Lamy, but it wasn't really through any fault of the driver in front. He's pushing to get the lap time out as well. It's just one of those unfortunate incidents when you're sharing a qualifying track with other drivers.
To be honest with you, mate, he wasn't any personal best in any of those sectors up to that point. He wasn't really gaining anything or...
Let me dream, Chaz. Let me dream.
He was certainly not lighting up the timing, I'm afraid. As Daleman, oh my life, a 21.3 now by Bart. Will someone put some ballast in that car or something? That's one thing iRacing needs. You need to be able to put ballast in individual cars. But, yeah, unbelievable by Bart Daleman. Absolutely. Martinson goes 5th fastest for Alcantech NHR. Loynes goes 7th. But look at Deckens, mate. Deckens is still 3rd fastest out of everybody. Miles ahead of the rest of that consistency field. That's brilliant to see. You've got to love it.
I mean, yeah, Deckens he's really got to grips with this Belle Isle circuit, it seems, compared to the rest of the drivers in his class. Tim Rutten and Poleman's good. I mean, I wouldn't say they're far off by a lot. I mean, they're only 3/10 shy, which, to be fair, from recent experience in races, that is not a whole lot of difference, but it just shows how close the rest of the field is from, well, now Van der Kokel all the way down through to Craig Frolic. That's well over 10 places, about 14 places separated by half a second.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? Pretty amazing. And again, it just shows how close this championship can be. We've seen amazing racing from all of them before. No improvements by a number of them this time round, but this is great to see. I love watching cars like this get pushed around this circuit. Zemstra goes 4th. There's a year 1 car backwards in the exit of the pit lane there. That's quite an achievement. But Ivan Maynard improves, but stays 3rd fastest. And look at that. Garcia now goes up to 4th. Carlos Garcia improving again. We've still got 8 minutes of the session left here, Ed. I mean, if we look at the weather very briefly, you can see it's 33 degrees track temperature, so it's quite the hot circuit at the moment, but it won't be as slippery as you'd expect. I mean, we've seen circuits that are over 40 degrees and they're absolutely horrible, but right now 33, it's not too bad, but they're going to feel that. They're going to feel that it's not the grippiest place in the world.
Yeah, you definitely notice it, but you will notice it getting cooler. You can see there's plenty of cloud cover at the moment, and with the ambient air temperature, that track will start to cool off. The faster times will come right at the end of this qualifying session, especially as the track gets more rubbered in. You can see there isn't really any significant amount of rubber being laid down the circuit. You can see a little bit through here, but at the rest of the circuit, not so much. So we'll expect to see lap times get quicker and quicker as the session progresses. I mean, Bart Daleman's still able to somehow find sectors that he can go quicker in. I'm not sure how, because that lap time was wonderful. I mean, look at that last time he just went by. 1:21.352 with a pole time of 1:21.339. He's essentially set 2 lap times now that could be enough for pole position.
It's mad, isn't it?
2 Bart Dalemans would lock out the front row easily.
I'm pretty sure if we would let him, he would. That's just what Bart's like. He's so quick. Really, really quick. And he continues to be right up there with it. And a real leading force in the championship. Not just the fact that he's an admin as well, let's not forget. But still, it's great to watch.
He does put a lot of work, not only into practicing, but also behind the scenes. I mean, he's provided us with so much information, Chaz, about the championship, the change in format, keeping us in the loop. Wonderful for us commentators when series organisers do that for us, because that allows us to bring you a much more refined and polished show, which I hope everyone in the YouTube chat is enjoying while we are into the final 6 minutes of qualifying.
And the sun is in and out a little bit now, isn't it? Starting to pop in and out. and that's what can make all the difference. I mean, track temperature can go up so quickly and then drop so quickly as well. That's just iRacing in a nutshell, really, isn't it?
Really is. Just look at that, though. I mean, it vanishes behind the advertising boards there, but you can tell that the drivers are getting very close to the wall. As Deckens again improves. Somehow, he's not only doing a great job for a consistency class driver, but just as a driver in general, to get on the front row, that is a wonderful effort.
Yeah, it is a hell of an effort by Martin Deckens. I mean, he's just pulled this pace out of nowhere. I'm just enjoying watching this car, but Martin really proving that he's one of the fastest in the consistency class at the moment. And to be honest with you, I think really, I don't think anyone's going to be able to displace him from where he is there. That's a hell of an effort.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, with performances like this, he might be seeing himself a promotion up into the precision classes. Oh, that wasn't very precise from Estefania, running wide into the tyre barriers. Not going to be the way he wants those final 5 minutes of qualifying to be going for him. Pulls back into the pits for a last stint, a last shot of taking P1 from the hands of Bart Daleman, who again puts in another lap time. Not quite on pace with Daleman. I think the tyres are starting to wane a little bit, so expect him to come to the pits, get a fresh set of boots on for a final charge. Following away though, Jerome Lamy. What can he do? I mean, he set the timing screens alight early doors as he comes through these final few sectors. I mean, you can see on the bottom of your screen, personal bests in the 3rd and 4th, coming through the 5th sector now, up to the line. What will Jerome Lamy's time be? What improvements will we see?
Wow.
Enough for P2. Wonderful stuff there. Shooting up the order from P9 to P2 in one move. Wonderful stuff.
Great lap that as well by Jerome Lamy. Only just under 0.2 of a second off Bart Daleman. A 1:21.51. Martin Deckens, by the way, did a purple sector 4 on his fast lap. That's a hell of an effort. Silas Kragvrolics just made a hell of an effort to rip off his left rear wheel. Brian Loynes just had a bit of a wiggle as we caught back up with him. Bart Daleman's improved in his first sector, but not anywhere else around the lap. So it looks like, definitely as you mentioned there, Ed, the tyres just aren't quite there now at this point of the session, are they?
No, not quite at this moment. Of course, track temperature, the track progression changes dynamically through the session, which is something I really am quite a big fan of. You see a lot of times in certain sims, it doesn't quite map it. You don't model it enough to actually feel the track underneath you. But here in iRacing, and especially a circuit like Belle Isle, you will feel it. Any amount of grip you lose on a street circuit like this, with the walls so close, so many reference points to gauge off, you really do notice it. I've had a few races at I forget the name of it now. That's horrendous of me. But the other American street circuit, Long Beach.
Long Beach.
You notice it a lot at a circuit like Long Beach, with the track just underneath. You can feel as soon as it's that little bit slower, you have to adapt your driving style pretty much every single time you go through as it changes.
I saw an interesting display of the damage model here on Niels van der Kokelt's car. We have had Hans Polmans up in 6th now for a few moments, so he's certainly showing that the rest of the consistency drivers can go up there. And let's not forget, Niels van der Kokelt won the first race of the season. Hans Polmans is out qualifying him at the moment, which shows Hansy's pace. Brian Loynes goes up to 10th fastest, but look, 9/10 covering the top 15. This is like Formula 1. Mad how close it is. Van der Kokelt improves, stays 7th though. Not quite able to beat Hans Polmans as of yet, and we only have a minute and a half now. So I'd say any moment now we're going to get cars starting their final laps. Is Martinson going to get across the line? Oh, just about, I think. He will get a full lap in here if he pushes. We'll go on board with him and see what he makes of it, because it's always a wild ride around here. There's a fantastic bit of footage. I can't remember exactly who it is that's driving the IndyCar, but he's on slicks in the wet around here, and it's just so frightening. But it's hilarious to watch. Absolutely hilarious. The car is constantly just bouncing off the rev limiter everywhere. and he's absolutely ragging the neck off it. It's great fun to watch, but yeah, I forget the driver's name unfortunately, but this looks like a very, very good lap by Martinson. No personal best sectors so far though. Just shows you how quick the fast lap must have been.
Yeah, he did have an improvement last time by, but now this is where it'll count as he comes up to a little bit of traffic. Dirty air, but gets out of the way.
Nice.
Good courteous driving. Not sure who that was, but or it was.
Ooh.
They're heading on Mattis Martinson's lap now. Might be Oda Beer by the Swede, as we see now coming down towards the final sector. Final time for him to try and get a lap on the board, sending it through, getting perilously close to the walls there, as you can see. Then the dash up to the line. The checkered flag will greet him. What can Mattis Martinson do? Personal best in the 4th sector. Is it enough to go on the order? Yes, it is. Wow. P6 late on. It didn't really leave much room to, get any more out of that. That was a wonderful lap.
4 thousandths behind Maynard. Van der Kokelt went up to 4th right at the death there as well. But Martin Deckens is the star of that session for me. And Lamy as well on his debut. Incredible performance by both of those boys. No improvements here by the look of it from Carlos Garcia, but he's still ringing the session out at least.
Tell you what, Chaz, you know me, and I love being proven right, and I like to make a big thing of it when I'm right, but what 2 drivers did I single out to be the ones to watch for in qualifying? And where are they on the grid? Where's the second, Derwin and Lamy?
Yeah, indeed. You weren't wrong, mate. You were definitely not wrong.
I mean, I tell you what, it does bode well for a great race. I mean, Bart Daleman, championship leader with a point to prove, but so does Lamy, newcomer, new boy on the block. He's going to want to try and stamp his mark on this championship sooner rather than later.
He is indeed, and that will round out the session then. Carlos Garcia, the last car to cross the line. And in just a moment or so, we will have the session ticking over. There will be quite the longer race this time, Ed. I didn't see the lap count before
34.
we got things underway. So 34, but it's not a long lap here, actually. 1 minute 20 odd seconds. It's a very, very short lap indeed. Carlos Garcia apparently completing more of a lap, but we can tell you that that is definitely not the case now. He will be back into the pits in just a sec. You will see the sim tick over. All the crowds and the cars and everything will disappear and then re-render, ready for the race session. But seems nice and calm here at Belle Isle right now, and this is definitely the calm before the storm. Do you reckon that Jérôme Lamy can do much from there then?
I mean, we've seen from the start of the race, the inside line is a little bit bumpy, a bit more, I guess, abrasive off the start, so it could be difficult for Lamy to get the best run, but coming out of turn 2 into turn 3, anything's possible, Chaz.
It really is, mate. It really is. Bart Daleman then will start on pole position ahead of Jérôme Lamy. Martin Deckens, the absolute star, in 3rd place with Niels van der Kokelt in 4th. Ivan Maynard is 5th ahead of Mattis Martinson in 6th. Iker Estefania and Hans Polmans make up row 4. Carlos Garcia is 9th ahead of Kevin Zemstra, with Brian Loynes and Silas Craig-Vrolick on row 6. Carlos Alvarez is 13th ahead of Ben Hoffman, with Tim Rutten and Philip Russell on row 8. Stephen Grabowski is then ahead of Wayne Palmer, with Adam Osiawala and Paul Godden on row 10. Carl Newen did not set a time during qualifying, so he will start at the back of the grid. So. We saw what Bart Daleman can do from the front at Sebring. What can he do from this point, though? I think this is going to be... I think this is going to be a big... I don't even know the word. It's going to be a different kettle of fish. Completely different kettle of fish.
Absolutely. Completely. I mean, the only similarities between Sebring and Belle Isle is the bumpiness. The rest of it is so far away. It's going to be tricky for Bart Daleman, I think, to have the same level of performance he had at Sebring. I mean, the level of performance he had was amazing, so for any driver it would be difficult, but especially with Jérôme in behind. Here we go, Chaz, though the drivers are getting ready. The second race is about to get underway.
It is indeed the 4th race in the championship in the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship gets underway, and it's a lovely, lovely start by Bart Daleman. Martin Deckens has already been displaced by Niels van der Kokelp, but only just by a nose. We'll keep our eye on the rest of the field, see how they all filter through. Is it nice and tidy? On board with Silas Kragvrolic, as you see everybody start to shuffle around in front, trying to gain positions. Lamy has overtaken Bart Daleman and then lost it again as they come into the first tight corner on the circuit. And looking at it, Bart's having to still hold it around the outside. He's kissed the wall. Is that going to give him damage? But Lamy goes to the lead. Niels van der Kokelp won't be too pleased with how Bart came over there. I don't think he knew there was an overlap, but look at that. Jerome Lamy, newcomer to the championship, a couple of corners in, and he's got the race lead. I'm going to keep a very, very sharp eye, though, on what happens to Bart Daleman's car here, Ed, because this could be very important.
It looks like, for me, those two wheels on the inside are squashed in slightly. I'm not sure if that's just my eyes looking for something that isn't there, but when we see the rear end shot, it's a bit more telling. I think there might be something going on here, Chaz.
Yeah, it certainly didn't look completely straight, that car, did it? There was definitely something up with it. Adam Osiawala has had an absolutely torrid night, and I'm afraid it's all come to an end there, and out of all the cars he holds up, his teammate is the one that suffers from it. Niels van der Kokelp has actually got Martin Deckens right behind him, but Martin, if he's smart about this, if he's a Smartin Deckens, then he won't push all the way through this to try and get an extra place, because it's not going to get him any more championship points, is it?
No, it won't. We've seen it time and time again. Consistency class drivers hanging back, keeping themselves out of these class fights, but I don't know, Chaz. With Martin Deckens seeing the chance for an overall podium up the road, he could go for it. I wouldn't begrudge him for it, to be honest, because an overall podium there's something special about it when you are in the lower classes. To get something like that overall on the road, you have to seize at those opportunities while they come, because they do come few and far between. As we look from the back shots of Silas Kragvrolic, look at the suspension work its magic.
Yeah, that's exactly why I
do
did
a lot of work here at Belle Isle.
That is exactly why I did it, because you really see these wheels moving around, bouncing about. I mean, it doesn't look so aggressive at this point, but look, even just coming through the corner, the amount of times that it compresses and decompresses again, that's just so much more than a car is used to having to work with on a racing circuit. You know, you've got all of these big slabs of concrete, the changes in the different surfaces, and the amount that the tyre is scrubbing against it as well. It's great to see. I mean, look at that there, a huge drop before you go to these penultimate corners. A double right-hander at the end of the lap, but again, just shows you how close they are to the wall. We'll go to the other side of the car, and we're probably going to sort of morph through the wall at some point over here, but because look at that into turn one. You've got to love it. Absolutely brilliant entertainment to watch. But Silas is 13th at the moment, and he's right in the thick of it. Carlos Alvarez and Kevin Zemstra ahead of him. These boys are a lot further down than we would expect them to be.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lap times from Bart Daleman. It does seem to be a little bit slower at the moment than Jerome Lamy, and I think there must be something going on with that car. It didn't look exactly how you would imagine a Formula 3 car to look in terms of those wheels. Again, I don't know if is it that right rear tyre. It seems to be slightly closer to the back.
Although he hit the car on the left.
On the left.
That's the interesting bit. He hit the car on the left, didn't he? Although, actually, let's not forget, I think he had the tiniest of touches with Niels van der Kokelp when he came over to the right, so maybe that's what's caused it. I mean, it didn't look too comfortable there, but he did clip the curb, so he can be forgiven. But he's got away from Niles behind him, but this man at the front, Jerome Lamy, sorry, no relation to Pedro, doing a great job. Whoa, look at that through there, sideways, sparks coming off it as he hits the wall. This is really on the limit stuff. I mean, we used to joke about the fact that year one were often very much over the limit rather than on the limit, but I mean, Jerome right now proving that he is exactly the man to watch. Stephen Grabowski, oh, Stephen. I've not seen many drivers with as bad a look as Stephen Grabowski. He's clipped the barrier there. Oh, wow. Now, keeping your foot in it and trying to keep that going, I think, is a little bit irresponsible. But he didn't hit anybody. He didn't cause any problems. But right now,
I think by getting the foot down, it helped him get off of the racing line. Which was
good point.
The bigger help for Grabowski. It's difficult, though, when you have got two wheels on your wagon, no control. The only thing you can do is basically modulate the throttle as well.
Silas.
Kragvrolic again in the wall.
Well, that's all it takes, mate. That is all it takes here at Belle Isle, just to push it that little bit too hard. You can clip the barrier and then suddenly your car is completely wrecked and you are pretty much down and out of this race. The lead gap then, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen, it's just under a second at the moment from Jerome Lamy. On the Limmy like an EP civvy. Yes, Dredge. Absolutely. I knew you'd say something like that, Dredge, if you were here. And I'm very, very pleased. You haven't let me down one bit. But Jerome Lamy, he's so close to the walls all the time, isn't he? I don't dare go on the suspension camera with this car. But you know what? Stuff it. We're going to do it. We're going to go on the left rear. And we're going to see how many times we morph through the wall on this lap. Because of that, well, there's one. Oh, my God. That is millimetre perfection by Jerome Lamy. Very, very close indeed. Wow. Wow, oh, wow. This young man.
Turn 6, that's going to be bright.
Ah!
Oh, my, that scared me.
Oh,
and we
no.
see it on the exit turn 6. That is immense bravery, because if you do graze the wall, it slows you down, and not only does it slow you down, it can give you huge damage because it's a high-speed corner.
That's just stupid, isn't it?
Fucking hell. You really get a sense for the customer. Look at the steering inputs he's putting.
Oh.
You can actually see him fighting the wheel there. I think he just got away with it there, Chaz. It didn't look like a hefty hit, but you can just hear him scraping his way through. There's Bart Daleman. I mean, he's trying to reel him in, but the gap is maintaining just above that 1 second mark. Now it starts to come down and then extend a little bit more. Flipping heck, though, this is...
I love it. I love it. Really, really good stuff to watch. 4th place, though, Martin Deckens at the moment. He is on a charge. He's lost 1 place from where he started, yeah, but, I mean, he's much higher than the rest of the drivers in the consistency class. And he leads them at the moment. Paul Godden has, unfortunately, parked it.
Oof.
He's had a big spin.
That went quite suddenly as well, actually, for Paul. Usually we see him a lot slower coming out of that section.
Yeah. Yeah, it just takes a tiny little bump just to lift a bit of weight off the rear end, doesn't it? And then they just scrub that tiniest bit. That was a bigger hit into the wall there by Bart Daleman. None of these cars are going to have straight wheels by the time they get to the end. Now, that's damage on Jerome Lamy.
Where did he pick that up? I think I saw him have struggles in the final sector, but I just thought he lost a bit of time. I didn't realise that he'd also picked up a little bit of damage for his trouble. You can see on the corner entry, that car is not so pretty.
Yeah, that left rear is wobbling like mad.
The drivers do get a fast repair in this race. In fact, they get 2. None in the first race, but definitely a couple in the feature. Oh, that is...
It's going. It's going.
It's a handful, to say the least, for Jerome Lamy, but he needs to bring it through, carry on until the pit stop phase comes through. I want to see if... Yeah, this is worrying, Chaz.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I was going to say I'm worried that's going to go. He's going to kiss it. He's going to kiss the wall on the way into a corner somewhere, and that's going to break away, and I'm worried that Bart Daleman's going to get caught up in this as well. We've seen these cars get damaged before. Whoa. Yeah, look, it's going. It's going. It doesn't want to play ball. The suspension's starting to go in the left rear. It's great testament to iRacing's damage model that, you know, it does affect him before the wheel completely falls off. But unfortunately, Jerome Lamy, as we see again, has just been pushing the limits that little bit too far. What was it before I said about year 1, jokingly? He's, I'm afraid, overdone it. But my mate Dredge saying, forget licking the stamp, these lads are drenched. You're not wrong, mate. They are absolutely sending it around here. It's great to watch, but yeah, it's a real shame that Jerome, easily one of the most exciting guys in the field, he's just pushed it a little bit too far. I don't quite think it's a puncture at this point, Martin. I think it's more just suspension damage, to be honest with you, because I think the tyre would be completely gone. They tend to completely go flat straight away in iRacing, but that is suspension because the way the car's picking the right rear up, the right front up, I should say.
Yeah, it looks to me as well that he should be coming into the pits this time by get that fixed up. Yeah, you can see him now down the inside line coming in to get it repaired. Should be fine. He's just taking essentially what will now be a slightly alternative pit stop strategy to the rest, coming in a few laps before everybody else. We should be fine until the end of the race though, Chaz, so nothing too worrying for the newcomer. Does mean though he might be out of order, he might be put in some traffic and that might hamper him in his attempts to catch up to and pass Bart Daleman come the end of the race. I mean, every driver has been doing exactly what Jerome Namey's been doing, just Jerome was a little bit too far in pushing the envelope.
Yeah, and it's easy to do that on a circuit like this because this is a track that demands that you do it. Ivan Maynard kissing the wall there as well on the left-hand side. Still plenty of time to go in this race yet as well. 34 laps around Belle Isle. It's not going to be easy at all to make it to the end here. I feel that attrition may be very, very high. We will have a look, though, back and see Jerome Lamey. He has continued, so he's obviously had the car fixed. He was only in the box for 4.8 seconds, but we know how quickly these Delaras take on fuel. They literally drink it. Doesn't look like he's learned his lesson, though, does it? He's still very close to these barriers every single corner. We do need to go a bit further up, though, because right now Carlos Garcia is coming under pressure from Brian Loynes. Brian starting to chase him down very, very closely. Looks to the left-hand side before turn 1. Tries to go for some sort of cutback, hoping that Carlos will go deep. Nothing doing there, though. There's the crest of the hill. It's already sideways before the crest, isn't it, with Brian? Wow, really pushing hard, but these guys have been so demonstrative of their talents behind the wheel and how well they can save a slide. It's been brilliant to watch. There's another one for Brian, a little bit slower speed this time round, but yeah, the amount that Formula cars don't often get sideways and the fact that these guys are throwing them so sideways really shows how on the limit they can be.
Oh yeah, they are pushing it and then some. Even following Brian Loynes, who had a brilliant first race, not been able to rekindle that level of form just yet. Still up though 3 places, so not all over yet for Brian. In behind Carlos Garcia.
Oh,
There's definitely positions to be made as Come on, Chaz.
Yeah, Carlos had a bit of a moment there. I think he just missed the wall, but he certainly looked like he got very, very close to it. Ahead of him, his 2 teammates are closing up, but this is the closest battle on track. I'm afraid Adam Ossioala has, I think, called it a night now. He's just come back out of the pits and he's had another spin or another accident. But Brian Loynes looking very good, although he's looking good enough to go into the pits right now. So he decides that he doesn't want to get held up. He doesn't want to fight at this point. He's just thinking, you know what, stuff it. I'm going to go in the pits. I'm going to try and get some clear air, and then I'm going to push from this point onwards. And I think right now that's the right decision, because if you're going to lose time at any circuit on this calendar, it's this one if you're not making overtakes lap after lap.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really add any more to that, Chaz. You've absolutely described it perfectly. Bart Daleman, he's got clear track. He basically needs to set qualifying laps from now up until his first pit window.
Just love watching Bart drive these cars to the best of his ability. We know how quick he is all of the time. I mean, there's a reason that he's reigning champion. Last season he was just untouchable in the latter stages. Some of the strategies that he made work were just amazing, and that's what he's been doing so far this season, isn't it? That first race meeting at Sebring was a joy to behold for the way that Bart managed to just work the traffic and work all of the fuel strategy. And right now he's out in front, car 1P1, just over a second back. Martin Deccan's still in third, though. It's a hell of a performance by him, isn't it, so far?
It really is. His thumb coke out. Just while touching this, gaining a couple of tenths on Daleman. Last lap, reeling him in. Not out of the woods yet is our championship leader. Martin Deccan's, though, I think he's well truly out of the woods. Completely clear of the forest in the consistency class. Holman's is a good 9 seconds back. So as long as Martin Deckens is able to control this level of pace that he's been putting out, it should be plain sailing for the Flemish Simsports driver. But of course, Belle Isle is a circuit that all of a sudden things can be going very right and then very wrong for you in but an instant.
Yeah, that's it. It can just go so wrong so quickly. We've had problems for Philip Russell and Paul Godden. Let's have a quick look here. Oh, Philip's lost it through turn 2. Don't hit the wall. I think that's going to break the right rear suspension. We'll have to wait and see, because Paul Godden had a moment not long after this, and then Phillips had another one, I think, which may have been a result of the damage that he had. Oh no, it's just him stopping and starting again, so it basically picks up that he stopped on track. Oh yeah, that's very broken. Very, very broken. That's crabbing a lot, unfortunately. And again, it shows you don't have to have a massive accident and absolutely batter the wall. You can just have a slight spin and just kiss it that tiny bit, a bit of a horrible angle, you know. It just pulls the wheel, stretches the suspension, and bends it out of place. Carles Alvarez, though, I think has had a big hit and hit the wall. Oh, no. And he has jumped to the pits off the back of this one. I don't think he was confident in getting the car back going again, but he's certainly jumped to the pits and thought better of it rather than trying the 3-point turns around there. And I think, to be honest, Ed, rather him than me doing a 3-point turn around there, it's a scary place to do it anyway on a racetrack when you're trying not to get in people's way that are following you around the circuit. But to try and do it here would be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's very courteous of him, especially at this area of the circuit we're coming through now, because there isn't really any space to get it up and running without coming onto the racing line. So I think he did the more sensible option, which was just to tow at that stage of the race and basically bite the bullet, take those minutes or however long it'll take to get back into the pits and get the fuel in, get the fast repair done, and get back out and running. As
excuse me, I tried to click Kevin Zemstra and the camera went mad. Not sure if that was a connection-based thing for me, that, but I was just looking at Zemstra slowly catching Carlos Garcia, although on the last lap Garcia was half a second quicker, so Zemstra's had a moment somewhere. But before that, Kevin was a little bit slowly reeling him in. Look at that, Lamy, fastest lap of the race.
Wow.
21.3 as well. That's rapid on race pace, that. Wow. That is fast.
really quick. Astoundingly quick. Scarily quick if you're Bart Daleman.
Yeah.
Just for reference, Bart Daleman's last lap was, a 21.6 or 3/10. Because I think my connection, Chaz, I think both of our connections are starting to struggle.
Heck. Well, we'll try and stick with you all as much as we can. It seems all right in terms of the stream at my end, so if there is any issue, Ed, then don't you worry, mate. This is the internet, it's a nightmare. Right now, though, the cars in front of Lamy, he did a 21.3 last time round. All the cars in front did 22.5s all the way up to Niels van der Koekel in second place, who's just come in the pits. So too has Deckens. So too has Mattis Martinson. And, yeah, even more of the rabble coming in. Somehow, though, Bart is the only one not to have pitted yet out of that top lot. Hoffman carries on, though. But there's only a few that are continuing on here. I think most of them pushing the limits. Now, Jerome Lamy is going to be interesting here because he pitted very early because of the damage to the car, but he's been able to still put in about the same amount of fuel as the rest of them will do. So he could be a bit of a spoiler in the pack here if he puts enough fuel in to get it to the end. What do you reckon?
Yeah, certainly. It's all about, though, navigating the back marker traffic. Because he came in that little bit earlier, it's shuffled him back through the pack and put him in a place that he might not necessarily want to be in. Right up behind Van der Koekel, getting loads of dirty air. But as he comes out of turn 6, the chance is presenting itself for a move. Will Van der Koekel, I guess, play ball? Doesn't seem like it, does he? By the way he's driving very defensively, very aware of the car in behind. So for now, Jerome Lamy needs to hope that this is not going to slow him up as Bart Daleman seizes the chance to come into the pits now.
Yeah, Bart dives in. Keep an eye on how long his stop is. The pit stops have been anywhere between 4.5 seconds to 5.5 seconds. Everybody spending just about the same time in the pits. Again, we get to see the suspension working on this Dallara Formula 3 car. The car from 2017. And wow, oh wow. This thing doesn't half shift. Ben Hoffman dropping down the order a bit. Obviously, he pitted out of sync with everybody else. Bart Daleman has come back out of the pits and he's 2.4, 2.3, 2.2 seconds ahead of these guys. So Jerome Lamy has certainly put himself back in it. Paul Godden has just had an issue, but we're going to stick with this for a moment. because these guys are pushing hard now. They're really working this one to try and hopefully work together to catch up with Bart. But I think the way... Oh, that's it! No, that's it. Niles van der Kokelt, surely that's too much damage for the car to continue. He's broken something there. That looked like a massive hit. The damage model sort of recalculated it, and the wheel is still attached, but boy, oh boy, that was a big hit. Oh, it's just after that, isn't it, I'm afraid? Or it's just before that, but certainly didn't look like the car was behaving itself.
Massive hit, wasn't it? I mean, it's... I don't know, I can't see a lot of damage from the cameras.
No.
Maybe he's gotten away with it.
It might have just bent the steering slightly on it. We'll have to keep our eye on him for the rest of it, but this is the thing. Sometimes you can get away with a tiny tap on the wall. Other times you have absolutely no leeway whatsoever. You will have nothing giving you any second chances around here. Mattis Martinsen having a bit of a quiet night at the moment. 4th place for him. The WOSR car's not quite as up there as they were at Sebring. 6th, 7th and 8th at the minute, with Carles Alvarez out of the race and in the pits. Ossie Wilder is still going though, you know. Hats off to Adam. He's had a lot of spins and a lot of contact with the wall this evening, but he still carries on. Very well done to him. And, well, Niles van der Kokelt ends his night there, I think it's safe to say. That was the earlier incident. Let's have a look what he's done here. He's clipped the grass. Oh, man. I tell you what, though, that damage model looks fantastic, doesn't it? That looks incredibly realistic now. We see this again in slow-mo. Just clips the grass. Whole thing goes completely sideways. Now he's put his foot in to try and just carry it round the corner, but the left rear hits, crumples the wing, and then the left front hits as well, and completely ruins both of them. The wheel tethers holding them well in place, meaning that debris doesn't bounce back onto the track and get in anybody else's way, but that, I'm afraid, for the very first race winner this season, is the end of the line for this evening. And that now means that Mattis Martinsen is in 3rd, but Jerome Lamy is free to go running, and he's done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:21.2. That is unbelievable. And Bart did a 1:21.9. Well, I don't know what to think right now, but Jerome Lamy is looking to be year 1 P1 right now, Ed.
I mean, yeah, it's looking like a good little battle on our hands between the pair from Daleman and Lamy. Round 2.
Sparks and everything coming off this car everywhere. I wonder, Ed, if you could just have a look at the entries tab in the iRacing sim and just let me know what Lamy's ping is. We've got that he's a British driver, so he's not sort of on the other side of the world or anything, but seems like there's a bit of netcode contact with the wall coming away from his car. I mean,
it doesn't seem to be that excessive. I mean, I've got him down as 58, but that might just be local connection to me, not to the server.
Yeah, true. Well,
I mean, Bart Daleman up at 66.
Yeah, I was going to say usually iRacing says 66 for just about everybody, so that's intriguing. Very, very intriguing. Niles in the chat, sorry to see it, but he says, man, this track whilst on day 5 of Corona is not a great combo. Flipping heck, mate. No, I can imagine not. We wish you a speedy recovery, mate. Really, really hope you're all right soon, bud. And you can fight off the virus. Martin Deckens is fighting off just about everything at the moment, though. He's actually not had to battle that often, though, has he? Let's face it. He's just been doing his thing and just driving, being quick, on the pace with all the drivers around him, but leading his class by a good bunch of positions. I mean, Tim Rutten's gained 6 places in this race for Team Year 1. Started 15th, he's up to 9th, but still, he's another 5 positions off the back of Martin Deckens.
I just can't get over that shot, Chaz, from the back end of Martin Deckens' car. Look at the suspension bumping up and down on the run towards 3rd and 7th.
Really gives you an idea of the size of the floor of these F3 cars as well, and how it works back towards the diffuser. You've got this like humongous square tunnel for the aerodynamics, and it really emphasizes the angle of it and how much it comes up from here. Consider how big that wheel is, and the fact that that floor is basically under where our camera is, and it scoops up to almost touch the rear wing. Does show you how much downforce these things generate at that back end. That's a big old diffuser, as you'd expect on a Formula car. You know, it's not like I'm surprised by it, but the overall size of it as Maynard kisses the wall a little bit there. And wow, Lamy 21.074. My God, man, take a chill pill.
That is monstrous time gain, isn't it, from Lamy? I mean, he's closing in on Daleman. Don't forget, though, Daleman does have a car that's, we would imagine, slightly heavier on fuel by pitting later. Getting enough fuel on board, probably a full tank right up until the time to take the next pit stop. Just listen to the crunching underneath Jerome Lamy's car right now. As I think now as we come up to the, I think realistically, lap 21 is the time that I'd expect Jerome Lamy to come in. Around about there, and he should be good till the end of the race. But for me, Bart Daleman, is that... Oh, for me, it looks like there's damage on that right rear.
Yeah, it doesn't look too stable. It looks like it's wobbling every so often. Bart's probably just going to try and nurse that right to the end. But, I mean, even if Bart is doing slightly slower lap times than normal, Jerome is absolutely flying right now. He's in the slipstream as well. Is he going to be able to get enough of a run down to turn 1? I don't think it's the place to do it. I think his main opportunity is going to be turn 3. Chucks it through to the right now. Gets the car nice and stable. Smoothly over to the left. Look at the speed they carry through there. And Dredge saying he's pushed the throttle through the nose with that time, and he has. I'll tell you what, I bet he's bent the throttle pedal. He's been pushing it that hard. Look at that cutback by Jerome. Lines it up. Nearly a bit of contact as Bart gets slightly out of shape. Moves back over to the left-hand side. Fantastic chase. Bart nearly kissing the wall with that left rear as well. Such great racing from these pair. Two of the very finest in their field. Jerome Lamy has made an incredible impression on me in his first appearance of the season. It's the first time I've ever commentated on him, in fact. And he has been a real superstar of tonight. Very entertaining as well. Just to cut away from this very briefly, Carlos Garcia's got Kevin Zemstra all over the back of him there. Now side by side down the back stretch. Completely side by side. And Kevin's going to have the inside line for the braking zone. Leaves loads of room for Carlos. Carlos tries to hang it around there though, but nothing doing. A bit of a slide, and he manages to at least keep it on the road, but Zemstra goes through. Back to the lead battle then. And like you say, Ed, we might see Jerome come in at the end of the next lap. Maybe even one more after that. And apparently, according to Grumpy Dad in the chat, he's running the Ferrari juice in that car, and he certainly is. It's an absolute rocket at the moment, that Year 1 machine. Now, don't forget, this isn't a fixed setup championship. It is open setup, and look at that. Tries to sell him the dummy, goes left, goes right, keeps Bart guessing time and time again. Gets a good run out of turn 3, has a little bit of a look before turn 4, but doesn't go with it. He's all over Bart now, though. This is massive amounts of pressure. Absolutely massive amounts of pressure from the Year 1 driver. Look how close he is through there. This is incredible stuff. I really hope it doesn't end in tears. But to be honest with you, Jerome Lamy is nearly pushing Bart down towards turn 7 onto the brakes. He hangs it to the left-hand side. Tries to open up the run on the exit. Can't quite get there. But my God, what brilliant stuff from the pair of these, Ed. I cannot take my eyes off this.
It's wonderful. This is brilliant stuff. Look at this. They're darting left and right. Inside, outside, anywhere you're looking, that Year 1 car is filling the rear view mirrors of Bart Daleman. Look at him just sending it through the last couple of corners now.
Jerome's out of fuel.
Jerome's coming into the pits.
Yeah,
I said lap 21, if he comes in, that should be good till the end of the race.
He was out of fuel just then. The car was stuttering. That's why he lost quite a bit of time in the last couple of corners. It was not a happy bunny through there. And the thing is, stuff like that can make a massive difference come the end of the race. This is Tim Rutten in one of the other Team Year 1 cars. Carlos Garcia goes into the pits. Tim Rutten's having a good run, actually, isn't he, at the moment? Second place in class. Good stuff from him. But right now, we've done 22 of the 34 laps. 12 laps still to go. Well, that was some incredible racing that we got to witness there. I had plenty of fun from these guys. And I hope that we get more of that once they come out of the pits again, because Jerome has been absolutely lighting up these times and these timing screens.
Hans Polman's then just lurking in the background behind Tim Rutten. Oh, there's a big slide from Polman's. Some sorts by Veraco, struggling a little bit with the rear end grip, and I think we're going to see that a lot, Chaz. As the race progresses into the final third, the tyres are going to start to drop away.
Yeah, definitely, and especially the rears as well. I mean, if we look at the weather, it's 35 degrees track temperature now, so these little slides and the little sort of four-wheel drifts that the cars are doing across the surface, they skip sideways as they lose the traction. They'll really be cooking the rears as this race goes on, so getting onto the power will not be easy. Now, one of the problems that Lamy's got to deal with here is that now he's come back out of the pits, he's got slower cars to negotiate through. Well, I guess not Hans Polman's, because Hans goes straight into the pits, makes life nice and easy for him. But he's got a little bit of clear air now, but still, he's going to be out of sync with Bart for a bit. Look at the bumps and the lumps down that section especially. He's got his teammate Ben Hoffman just in front, and then his teammate Tim Rutten in front of him. So it's a year one trio at the moment in 7th, 8th and 9th. Brian Loyne's currently rounding out the top 10. Not seen too much of Brian in this race, considering how much of a crucial player he was in the first one. He's just not been able to rise up the order, unfortunately. He started 11th and he's now up into 10th.
Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing, you have to say, for Ryan Loynes. Not able to rekindle that spark that he seemed to find in that first race. But that's the thing about these longer affairs. Some drivers do better in sprints and start to struggle in the features. Of course, having a look through, let's not forget Brian Loynes has actually done 2 pit stops already, which is why he's down in 10th place.
Ah, yeah, good point.
So those in front, we'll expect them to maybe slot in behind us. Whoa! That looked like a big moment for Russell, I think, out, as is Estefania.
Oh, Ica's just carried too much speed into the penultimate couple of corners, and Philip Russell has had a big hit into the barrier. The wing goes flying. The the air intake comes back to say, "Are you all right, love?" But yeah, that is that's a big old whack. That is a big old whack. The car decides to repair itself temporarily, but yeah, not good. You can see how much it's spread out actually amongst the field. Each of the cars there representing their own individual class colours. But Jerome Lamy ahead of his teammate Ben Hoffman now and pushing on. And this shows you how quick Jerome is. I mean, we know how fast Ben Hoffman is. He races in the Formula One World Championship. He's incredibly quick in that as well. He's been incredibly quick in this series for multiple seasons now as well. But Jerome is just so fast. We've lost almost half the field though, Ed. That shows you how difficult and how treacherous this circuit is.
Yep. Unforgiving for these drivers. We always knew that it'd be difficult for the Formula 3s around Belle Isle, but we thought that a lot of the difficulties would come maybe from drivers getting taken out in one big incident, not, over the course of the race. They'd been dropping like flies, Chaz, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think we'd rather them go one by one than all in one massive incident. Carlos Garcia has joined the queue in the pit lane. Now, as you mentioned very rightly before, Ed, the tyres are really going. Look, the rear brake's away. Oh, there's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do. And he's straight out of the race. Carlos Garcia into the pits. Lamy does another fastest lap.
Yeah, I was just about to mention, that is bonkers.
We'll just show it again. Look, there you go. 121.056. No one else has actually, other than Bar, has gone less than a 121.5, have they? No, they've not. Wow. That's ridiculously fast. But look, again, he's just pushing the limits to these walls, and he's having to sort of back out of it and just take his time. But still, what a great recovery drive it's been as well by Lamy. And let's not forget, he's only 23 seconds off Bart Daleman in the lead. Now, in the pits, if you take as much fuel as possible, you're in the pits for 30 seconds. So I imagine Bart's going to take maybe a few seconds less than normal, but it can't be that much less. So we're going to have an absolute wonder battle to the end. Either that or Jerome Lamy, considering that he damaged the car early on and had to pit out of sync to everyone, he could end up winning this race, or could he? Oh my
Not
God.
if he keeps doing that.
Oh, it's wiggling again. It's wiggling. It's broken away. The steering didn't look quite straight there either as he went down the straight away from us. Oh, he could just overdo it. He needs to just guide this car to the end. It looked a bit oversteery there. Did you not think?
He's attacking the corners. I don't know. Maybe he's just attacking the corners. Seems to be finding a straight line. Having a look at the wheels, they all seem to be in alignment. The cambers are the big thing. And it all looks okay. I think Lamy can breathe a sigh of relief because that could have been a lot worse. Can't really see on board if he's holding the steering wheel straight or not.
I doubt he is at this point. He's hit the wall that many times.
Is I might have to break away. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say I might break away from our camera link and see what I can see if I go into the cockpit cam, but I'd much rather be here watching all of the action and seeing, oh, maybe not seeing that from Martin Deckens. That's going to be a long old wait to get that car back up and facing the right direction, but thankfully, no contact with the wall.
Yeah, and he hasn't lost any positions in his class either. He may have gone down to 5th, but still, he'll be happy with the fact that he's still leading the class. Behind those banners there, nicely placed, is Mattis Martinsen, as Iker Estefania has had another hit with the wall. Flipping heck. What has happened here? Oh, same corner. Nails the curb, and look at that slide there from Kevin Zemstra. Estefania hits the same wall twice, and that is his race done. More cars coming into the pits then. Zemstra and Deckens both in. Bart Daleman stays out. He's got 7 laps to go, but look, there is definite damage on that left rear. That was wiggling like mad then for me.
I mean, you can see that for all of the drivers, they are not giving up. They are going right up until the end. I mean, Bart Daleman, the longer he goes, the shorter his final stop will be. And he will need it to be short because Lamy is putting in the effort, the work, the lap times getting shorter and shorter. He's going to have a little bit of help from a teammate just up the road. But, I mean, look at this from Jerome Lamy.
He's just done a purple sector 1. He's on this lap. On this lap, he's done a purple sector 1 as Jerome. And he was a good 10th and a half quicker than Bart Daleman in the first sector alone. And Bart's actually into the pits now, so he's going to get that car repaired. But I'll keep an eye on how long he's stationary in his box. Jerome was still for 5.95 seconds. It was one of the longest pit stops we've had in the race, apart from those that have had damage. Bart is stationary for... He's not even stationary yet. But I'll tell you, we'll keep our eye on it. But again, kissing the wall look from Lamy.
Lamy could have this. Pit exit for Daleman.
4.2 seconds Bart was still for. There's Lamy coming through now. And here he is. And there he is. Wow. You couldn't make it up. Look at that. Absolute stalemate again. Bart instantly defensive. We've got 6 laps now to the end of this race, Ed. We're going to see more of what we had before. Worn tyres, low fuel. Lamy with a fantastic cutback. I get his name wrong every time I get excited, but Lamy goes to the lead. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Bart just pushed it a little bit too hard into 3. Now, what has Bart got in his locker to come back at that? Because we've seen how good Lamy's single lap pace is without slipstream. I mean, he could easily just try and drive away from Bart right now.
But what did we see at the start of the race? Daleman kept with Lamy, put the pressure on, and a mistake came through from the debutant. Maybe this is where Bart Daleman's experience in this series, stalwart, a household name, if you will, of this SimStickers F3 Championship, does the cool, experienced head prevail against the newbie, the new boy, the new kid on the block? Lamy currently in the lead of what is just his 2nd ever race, first round of this F3 Championship.
Yeah, he's been incredible so far tonight. No matter what happens in the remaining 6 laps, he has been absolutely phenomenal to watch. Great addition to the championship. At the beginning of the night, Ed and I saw another name near the bottom of our timing sheets and just thought, oh look, a newcomer. I don't think we'll mention him that much. He has been the centre of attention tonight, I have to say. He's been absolutely brilliant. More of this, please, Jerome. And more of this, please, Team Year 1. Looks like Bart's having to push a little bit too hard to try and keep up here, Ed. I don't think he can stay with him, you know. He might have finally met his maker here. I mean, Christophe Herbigno a few seasons ago was unbelievable, the two-time champion.
Is there rear damage from Bart? Look at that. Rear tyre is not looking that good on the left-hand side.
No, it's not actually. Certainly looking a little bit wiggly. And that's the thing, it sort of wobbles at certain points and then doesn't at others, but yeah, the back end looks a little bit floaty there. God, they're close to the wall. Even the right rear, I think, looks a bit broken as well. Oh, these guys have been... I mean, these cars will be absolutely battered. It's not often you get a little Formula car like this come back from a race and look absolutely wrecked. But there will not be a single straight panel or single tyre with any tyre writing left on it by the end of this one, if iRacing was as realistic as that. But look how close they get to the wall. They are still pushing so hard. I know there's a race going on elsewhere in this. I mean, we've actually got 1.4 seconds between the top two in our consistency class battle, but we will stick with this because Lamy and Bart Daleman, two of the absolute stars of the championship, one of them very new to our screens, the other one has been around since the very start of this series, and this is maybe a little signification of a changing of the guard at the top of these standings. I hope we get Jerome for the whole season though, because what a great bit of entertainment he has provided. But the thing is, can he make it to the end? Literally, as I say that, Phil Reagan has just put that in the chat as well. He's got to finish. I mean, the old saying goes, doesn't it, Ed? To finish first you must finish. And I think Jerome's biggest challenge is going to be finishing. No offence to the lad.
No, definitely, and that was what I was trying to allude to when we talk about the experience, the level-headedness that you usually get with Bart Daleman as the rear end. You just saw braking traction for the Mamba Simsport car in behind. It's going to be close, I think, right up until the end of the race. Bart Daleman will not let Lamy have an easy time of things, that's for sure. But I have to admit as well, Chaz, after the performance Bart Daleman put on that second race of the evening at Sebring, I was worried that we were going to have just one driver walk away with the championship. Such was the dominance that he showed. But here, tonight, it seems Bart Daleman will not have the easy time he was hoping for. In previous seasons, it's been, well, Adrian Falcon, hasn't it? But now, it seems like it's Lamy stepping up to the plate to try and stop Bart Daleman's party tonight.
And I tell you what, Bart will relish the challenge as well. He will love it. He will absolutely love having somebody to fight this hard and someone that will work him this hard all through the race. And I mean, the fact that Jerome can come back from having the damage early on, having an earlier stop, losing a lot of time, and still come back to being with a genuine chance of winning the race is incredible. But as Phil Reagan has just said in chat, I hope he's put enough fuel in. He might be cutting it fine right to the end, but to be honest with you, 13 laps, I don't know if that... Well, it should be enough, I think. It should literally be on the limit, though, because Bart Daleman, if you think about it, has done 2 stops, and his second one was lap 27, so one of those must have been 14, and one of those must have been 13, so Jerome's going to have to do 13 laps on the fuel that he put in, and it's not like he's hanging back anywhere, and it's not like he can hang back. On to lap 32 we go.
I have to imagine if Lamy was worried about making it till the end, he would have hung back, saved a bit of fuel, and made the overtake right at the end of the race. But for now, he's gotten up into the lead. He has confidence to take it right up until the end. But Bart Daleman, with a personal best over the race, has started to close that gap back down from all the worries we had about damage potentially playing into effect as both of them run wide. Now that's the tyres starting to kick in, the understeer kicking in. This is a brilliant finish, and also what could signify the start of a brilliant championship fight between the pair of them, Chaz. You know, as we come up to the line, next time by, there will be just 2 laps separating either Jerome Lamy or Bart Daleman from race victory here.
Yeah, this is one of those really intriguing battles where they're not going for moves every single lap. You know, they're not side by side at every single corner, but this is one of those where it's just about who is going to blink first and who is going to be the driver to make a mistake, if either of them will. You know, it's just insane. Is there enough fuel in Jerome's car? Can Bart use any slipstream? More sparks come off Jerome's car again. Morphing back through the wall we go. Down to the main straight, and we'll cross the line once more to start the penultimate lap of the race. Look at that. It's incredibly precise, and that is why he's so quick. Anyo Fungus in the chat saying they get so close to the wall I hold my breath. I don't blame you, mate. We're doing the same here as well and having to try and commentate at the same time, and funnily enough, you need your breath to do that. Again, look, through the wall. There we go. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Quickly looking back, though, at the fight for consistency, it's like Kimber Haight can read my mind. It is Deckens and Rutten 1.3 seconds apart between those two. Hans Polmans is another 13 seconds back. Those two cars there are not for position, but they are actually battling one another. Wayne Palmer and Ben Hoffman. Ben looking to make a move down into turn 3. Then he'll have his teammate to help him. Around the outside he goes. Wayne has to concede. Nice move that by Ben Hoffman. Moves up, but of course that's just for overall position. Ben is in a different class to Wayne, so doesn't need to worry too much. Right then, one more lap in the books, and that is all that stands between the two of them then. Bart Daleman, second place at the moment, tied for the championship lead coming into this one. And Jerome Lamy, the newcomer to the championship, proving everybody wrong and doing an amazing job. One more lap, Ed. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I'd be holding my breath if I was either driver. This is going to be one of the most anxious laps of their lives here at Belle Isle. The walls will seem that much closer. The car behind will seem that much closer as well for Jerome Lamy. He just needs to keep it steady. He's got enough of a gap to work with now. 0.8 of a gap to Bart Daleman. He can't afford to let up, though, because he knows this first sign of a gap, a first sign of a move opening up, Bart Daleman will seize it as Lamy again grazing the wall at every opportunity. He's driven the car as he has done all race long. This is Bart Daleman. He's slow out of the corner. Is that possibly it for the fight for P1? I think Bart Daleman will have to settle for second best.
Lamy's car has got more significant damage on the left rear than we've seen before now, though. That left rear wheel is properly going. It's wobbling around like mad at that certain speed. It's only got to hang on for a few more corners, though. I'm wondering whether it's going to break loose and stop him because it's properly going. Bart doesn't look like he's able to get close enough either. I think he's got similar damage. It might just not have rendered in the same way. 2 more corners to go. And Jerome Lamy is going to do this. Bart Daleman's had to slow down a lot. He's got damage, but Lamy hits the wall. The left rear wheel pops off the car. It pops back on. What a fantastic win. Jerome Lamy, welcome to the Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship, sunshine. Oh my God. Wow.
And in the background, I mean, we should have shown a lot of it. Matthias Martinsen, podium finish for him. Wonderful drive, setting his personal best right at the end on tyres that had done 34 laps. Huge credit to the Swede, who shot up the order after qualifying, was in 9th, and then shot up the order.
Sorry, mate, there's been some dramas. Brian Loynes has had this happen on the last lap. But then Wayne Palmer and Tim Rutten have also had problems. Wayne Palmer's lost it and then gone in the wall. And then Tim Rutten has also had a problem. And he was fighting for the lead in consistency. Oh, no. Oh, and his teammate goes around as well in avoidance. But Bart Daleman just loses out in that one. But what an unbelievable performance that was by Jerome Lamy. The young man has done an incredible job. I mean, he might not even be young, I don't know. But flipping heck, he certainly opened our eyes tonight. And I think Bart Daleman will be thinking, well, what a great championship fight we've got ahead of us. Martin Deckens, by the way, fantastic stuff from Flemish Sim Sports. 1-2 in the consistency class. They'll be really chuffed with that one.
Absolutely, and it's no less than they deserve. They put on a brilliant performance, haven't they, Flemish Sim Sport? Martin Deckens able to secure the consistency class win. Let's not forget there was a chance where he could have fought for the podium, but here we go, Chaz. There are the race results up on the screen.
Jerome Lamy takes his first win in the Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship on his very first appearance. Bart Daleman's second place really pushed him to the end, but the tyres were completely gone by the time the race was over. Mathis Martinsen, no news is good news, and that good news is a podium for him tonight. Ivan Maynard also in 4th place, bit of a lonely race for him. Kevin Zemstra the same as well, actually, in 5th position. Martin Deckens and Hans Polmans complete a 1-2 for Flemish Sim Sports in the consistency class. Brian Loynes is 8th and is the last car on the lead lap. Tim Rutten crashes near the end but still gets 3rd in class, so well done to Tim at least for getting a podium. Carlos Garcia and Ben Hoffman also 1 lap down. Wayne Palmer and Philip Russell were 2 laps down each as well, with Iker Estefania, Adam Ossioala, Niles van der Kokelt, Paul Godden, Carl Newen, Carles Alvarez, Silas Kragvrolic and Stephen Grabowski all retiring from the race. Well, attrition was the name of the game here tonight, Ed, but that was possibly one of the best races I've seen in this entire championship. You know, I've not seen many races more entertaining than that. And to be honest, massive hats off to our eventual race winner, because incredible stuff by Jerome Lamy. What a real strong talent he is.
A wonderful performance from Jerome, who showed what he was capable of in that first race. His charge up through the field, setting the fastest lap in the sprint race, was a sign of things to come in the feature. Didn't always have it his own way. Qualified second best to Bart Daleman, but in the race where all of the points are scored, he came out on top after a brilliant fight with last season's champion. Sets up a wonderful fight for the coming rounds.
Does indeed. And I mean, you've got to think about the fact that they were pushing for so long that, I mean, there's not much else they could have given, is there? Like, there's not a single thing more that they could have done during that race, I don't think, because they were so close to the walls the whole time that, well, I'm just trying to fathom how on earth you can find more pace around a circuit like this and do it in a way that these boys did, because it was just so strong. And again, I think that just shows the quality of this championship, doesn't it? It's the real quality of the drivers that we've got in this field and the people that we have the joy of watching week after week, Ed.
Honestly, this is... I mean, it's quickly become the highlight of my week, this F3 series. I'm sure you're the exact same, Chaz. It's been a wonderful first round of the season at Sebring and followed up here at Belle Isle. Of course, we didn't have as many drivers finishing the race as I think we all would have hoped, Chaz, but the racing that we were treated to, it's always wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, this driver had a wonderful race, and you can speak to him now, Chaz.
Yes, indeed. Hans Polmans, welcome, my friend. I imagine you're pretty chuffed, considering that 3 corners into tonight you were involved in an accident. That's not a bad way to end it, really, is it, with your teammate right up there with you?
No, I was actually looking back towards Tim. He was gaining on me, and I braked a bit too late. But I promised Maarten a few beers. He lives in the same town as me, so I'll make up for it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. It's always good when you can meet up like that. Well, what did you make of this car on this track? It's the same question we're going to ask everybody, so the viewers better get used to it. But it just looks so difficult to keep the car out of the wall tonight.
My wrists are just shot for tonight. Last 20 minutes I was in agony. I turned down my my direct drive last week for practice, so it's I think at 2/3 of what it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, 50 minutes is very hard.
I can imagine, actually. I mean, these cars, usually you see them just for sprint racing, maybe 20, 25 minutes, maybe even up to about 35 minutes, 40 tops. But to do almost an endurance race, as it would be in these cars, with more than one pit stop, cannot be easy. But it certainly looked like at points, though, they were quite fun to wrangle around this bumpy, narrow track.
Yeah, once you get a hang of it, it's pretty fun, but I only practiced a few days last week, and at the beginning I hated it. I still do, but less than the beginning of the week. But yeah, today went pretty well for us, so...
Well, it's certainly been entertaining to see how you get on, mate. And of course, it's a great season so far for Flemish Sim Sports. You boys are having a really good one, aren't you?
Yeah, indeed. And we hope we can continue like this, and not a lot of bad things happen to us. So,
and it's Imola next up as well, a narrow, twisty circuit, but not so many walls that time round. It's all about the curbs there, isn't it?
I don't mind the walls. It's just not bumpy.
Yeah, that's true.
it's flat.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it's going to be an interesting round there, mate. We look forward to how you get on. Very well done to you and your teammate, Martin. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to?
Same as always, our sponsor, Draycott, to make this possible, and the entire team for having our back.
Lovely stuff. Great to speak to you as always, Hansy. Well done, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Till next time.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Hans Polman saying it how it is there, and to be honest, Ed, I didn't really think about the sort of toll on the drivers. You know, you think about the mental toll this would have with the fact that they've got to focus so much every single lap at every single corner not to hit a wall, but the fact that you've really got to have a stiff grip on the car as well to make sure that none of the bumps sort of affect the steering. It is a long time to be doing that in a car like this.
Yeah, definitely, and you can't afford to turn down the force feedback, because if you feel that rear end break away over the bumps, you're not going to be able to respond in time because you're not feeling anything. So it is essentially a catch-22 situation for a lot of the drivers. Damned if they do, damned if they don't. And with the amount of hard racing we were able to be treated to, it's no surprise that a lot of them are feeling the effects, definitely needing the week's rest before the next round of the championship. I think the next driver that we're going to have a chat to, we'll probably hope that the next round is, well, tomorrow, to try and get something to answer back, because that was, a brilliant drive in the first, but in the second, Bart Dahlman, he's going to be relishing the opportunity to go wheel to wheel with yet another amazing fight with Jerome Lamy, who we can now speak to Bart Dahlman now.
Bart, you must be a bit tired, I think right now is probably the word. Talk us through that race, because it was an incredible battle with Jerome, and what a great addition to the series he is.
Yeah, indeed, he's really fast. So yeah, it was a great battle. I'm very respectful. I thought after his when he drove into the wall, I thought, yeah, I got it in the back, but suddenly after the first pit stop, he was in my rear mirrors again. So yeah, and then it was, yeah, he had such an amazing pace. He pushed a little bit harder than I dared to push. In practice, my pace was higher than this, but yeah, it's the track was so hot, and I couldn't really push, and it's easier to follow here than to be in the front, to be honest. But yeah, overtaking is very difficult. You have to be, the only place is turn 3, and you have to be so close in turn 1 and 2, the right and left hander, and you're understeer into the wall. And we're both very lucky that we didn't lose a wheel or something, because we were banging those walls amazingly. So.
Yeah, there was a few points to that race where we saw the wheels really starting to wobble around. You know, it was obvious that they were damaged, but I mean, we all know what the iRacing damage model can be like. It does show the damage for a few seconds, then it sort of pops back. But were there any moments where you really felt that the car was getting a bit leery, or was that just down to the tyres going off over the race?
Last lap, I think I hit the wall pretty hard, and I think what I felt like the steering was broke, so I was happy that it was in the last lap. But yeah, I couldn't push anymore at the end. But yeah, it was already over anyway. I tried to have a very aggressive line in turn 1 and 2 to get very close and carry more speed, but I understeered in turn 1, and then I had to back out of it. So, and then it was game over, because yeah, like I said, turn 3 is the only chance on this track. So I tried it and it did work out. So up to the next one, Imola has a little bit more slipstream there. So.
Yeah, Imola's going to be great. We've had some fantastic racing there before. Unfortunately, last season it was the broadcast where I had to disappear, I'm afraid, halfway through. So,
yeah. Well, that was the only race I was faster than Falcon, but I'm happy you didn't broadcast it, because I, on the start finish, I just drove into the wall without pressure, but I just drove the wall and I lost my wheel. So, so I'm not mad about that. So,
well, let's hope you don't do that again this time round, eh? Either way, Bart, thank you again, as always, for providing such entertaining racing. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
You again and Edward for doing the broadcast. You're doing an amazing job. So and thanks for the stewards last week. Everybody that jumped aboard to be in the admin team. Thanks to them as well for all the work they do, and Paul Godden, of course, for sponsoring the series.
Lovely stuff. Well, always a pleasure, Bart. Thank you once again for having us. It's been brilliant, and we look forward to seeing you at Imola, mate.
And I want to thank Brian Loynes, because I practiced a lot with him. So normally he should be up here, because he was faster than me, but yeah, he couldn't get his quality together. So.
Well, fair enough then. GG to Brian Loynes. Either way, Bart, thank you again, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, mate. See you soon.
Cheers, Bart, mate. Oh, wow. Chaz, that was one heck of an evening's racing.
That was something. That was really something. And what a great talent we've suddenly discovered here in Jerome Lamy. Absolute star. I'm just quickly going to bring his iRacing up in our timing. And, yeah, 5,802 iRating. The highest in the series by quite a while as well. Mattis Martinson is second in the iRating with 4,300. So he's got 1,500 iRating over just about everybody else. Obviously, iRating isn't everything because a lot of people do leagues mainly. You know, I know lads with 900 iRating that take on people that are 6 and 7k because all they do is leagues. You know, they don't do anything else. So still, an amazing talent indeed in Jerome Lamy. And an amazing race evening as well, everybody. I tell you what, Belle Isle has not disappointed at all. It's been so much fun bringing you this broadcast again. Thank you to the series sponsors, Sim Stickers, and of course thanks to NEVO for having me and Ed as well. We really enjoyed this one. We hope you did too. And we will see you again on April the 14th for Imola for the next round of the championship. For now, I've been Chaz Draycott with the wonderful Ed May beside me. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.